Hello everyone. The first half of the original draft analysis video didn't record the audio from DJ Cold Cuts and Ishiku, who were helping me with doing the draft analysis last time, so I'll just go over the teams that weren't recorded on my own really quickly, and then we can jump into the other half of the video in which their audio was recorded. So, Blackster, we said he has his offensive threats, his Urshifu, Single Strike, Charizard X, Alakazam, Thundy, they all synergize very well offensively, but he doesn't support that very well, which is why Bilby initially said he'd be one of the lower drafts. There's no reason for him to have Klefki and Florges. They're both bulky fairies that, well, I guess they might serve different roles on a team. For the most part, there's no reason to bring both. And having drafted Mega Charizard X, his only removers are Colossal, Klefki, Swoobat, and Thundurus T. Only half of those are actually viable. And, well, 3 of them are defoggers that aren't even very good, so he can't even really take advantage of his hazard stack to the fullest. Since he's also going to get hazard set up on himself, and he'll have to remove them with his only really reliable remover in that situation being Colossal. With a Zardex. And those 2 mons, well, together are pretty Earthquake weak, so we decided to put that pretty low, as you can see. Bader's team is solid. We decided that his mons do pretty well individually, but all of them would appreciate some extra support. Hippowdon has no Sand Abuser. Heatran is sitting here without a solid, bulky fairy or a bulky dragon. Well, Audino's actually a solid fairy, never mind. But he doesn't have a bulky dragon or any offense or pivoting or anything that would actually bring in his Heatran. Heatran's not really helping out anything else on the team. Espeon is helping Dragonite only in the sense that it's magic bouncing hazards, but Espeon will have to pivot in, and if the opponent were to click an attack, it's dead because it has no bulk. Ditto is still pretty self-explanatory. It's just preventing opposing setup mons. The thing is that he doesn't really have much on his team that's going to encourage setup, since Hippowdon can just roll in most mons away. I guess Audino could be setup fodder, but it does get Encore. He didn't support Dragonite very well. He doesn't have the best hazard removal. Talonflame might be a decent remover with boots, but it's likely going to want to serve more of an offensive role in most of his games. Eldegoss isn't a bad remover, but that's his only remover, and overall it's not a very solid mon. Except when it comes to hazard removal and I guess maybe some support roles, like status remover, yeah. And Urshifu Rapid Strike doesn't really belong on the team, considering that Urshifu Rapid Strike isn't really serving as much as a very good breaker for anything. It's good defensively as a pivot due to its specific typing, but it's not really helping his team defensively at all. And his team already doesn't have the best defensive pivots as it is. At least none that synergize well. Hippowdon and Heatran are good, but they won't really be pivoting into much that's threatening out his other mons. At least they'll have to, but they likely won't be able to do it very effectively. Which is why Bader is second to last on this list. Cheez-Its, we decided, has a very broken team. Alakazam Mega plus Tapu Lele is going to be insanely hard to switch into. I wouldn't be surprised if nobody in the league has a switch into this. On top of that, he has Tapu Lucha, which in and of itself is also considered, I guess a lot of people consider it to be pretty broken. He has a solid bulk in Nidoqueen. Drapion can be pretty bulky. Kaparaja can be bulky. Dusknoir is a decent defensive pivot. Garchomp can be a pivot. Coragano can pivot in sometimes, and he has wish support for all these mons in Alomola. It's a very solid team. The only area in which his team is lacking is pretty much just hazards. He doesn't have the best. Well, he has removers. Not the best removers. He's got Holucha, Cryogonal. That appears to be it. He doesn't have very good. Well, he does have rockers at least, but it's just his removal pretty much. That's the only area in which he's lacking. Hence, he's first because I don't know. Lele Alakazam seems pretty broken, especially with Lucha on this team. And he has wish support. Like, this is just insane. Dolphin, we decided he just has a lot of mons that don't really work very well together. He has webs, but most of his mons don't really abuse webs. Apart from maybe Haxorus. Maybe some offensive Gorgeist. Porygon Z could probably also abuse webs. His Fairy Dragon Steel isn't bulky at all and doesn't synergize at all. He has a lot of pivots across his team, but for the most part, they're not very bulky, apart from like Rotom Fan. He doesn't have a very good defensive core. It seems that he was trying to go for a more hyper offensive team, which is what me, Ishiku, DJ Coldcuts, we all decided, but he didn't really support that very well. He has a Trick Room option, but only Crawdont and Slowbro can take advantage of that. And while Crawdont's a good Trick Room abuser, he could have done with something else. Maybe that either could have set it or something that could have done a better job at like actually forcing things out, living hits at the same time. This is coming from somebody whose favorite Pokemon is Crawdont, so yeah. We thought Porygon 2 would be better on his team than Porygon Z. Something like that. Just something that can reliably switch in and pivot out. Hence why he is third to last. But again, everybody can still make use of their team, obviously. I mean, like, if they know what they're doing, it doesn't really matter what any of us are saying about these teams. Anybody can put in work with any mon. It just depends on it ultimately depends on the coach. This is just draft analysis, as I'm sure most of you know. Dorley. I think Dorley has a solid team. Though it is lacking in the hazard removal department, as his only solid hazard remover. No, his only hazard remover is Acidui. And he has Landers, but that's not going to be running Defog. Um, he has solid bulky pivots in. Makalola Metagross can sometimes be a decent pivot, but it likes to be offensive most of the time. He has 3 different Wish Pass options, which are good because Metagross likes Wish Pass. Most of his team would appreciate Wish Pass. We thought that Mega Beedrill doesn't really fit on his team very well because he doesn't have the best removal. He could have done with any other Mega, like Mega Gyarados, which he himself said wasn't very good. So, yeah, I mean, I think it's solid, but overall, we decided it probably wasn't one of the stronger teams that we went over. And last but not least, which is the team that the recording suddenly decided to start showing us the audio for. Orlenti. Not gonna go too in depth, but Dragapult Sylveon Fortress is a really good Fairy Dragon Steel. We pretty much decided overall that while he does have a solid team, he didn't pick the most optimal mons for that. I guess that he could have drafted. Mega Treasure isn't really doing anything here. He could have done with literally anything else, something that could have actually pivoted in on attacks that most of his other mons wouldn't be able to handle otherwise. He could have gone for the better ground resist than basically just Gliscor. His removal is okay. We said his team was solid, but he just could have gone for a better electric type. He could have used another breaker apart from Mienshao. Could have got a mega that would actually offer him some utility. Gliscor doesn't really fit on the team because he's got mons that do benefit from Wish Pass. Actually, he kind of doesn't. I mean, Starmie and Gliscor both have reliable recovery. Just Fortress and Lapras are the only two mons that could benefit from Wish Pass here. But overall, solid. It's just a little suboptimal, as you'll see. As right now, the video should be cutting to the part with everybody's thoughts and opinions. So yeah, if you stuck around for this long, thank you for listening. And yeah, I'll see you in the next half, or probably like the next 90% of the video. So goodbye. And remember, if Darmg can't learn SD, why Gliscor can't? Gliscor doesn't have sword. Facts.
You ready to get the recording started, Coda?
It's on. It's back.
Okay.
But yeah, we were on shitting on Mega T-Tar last, right?
We're on shitting on Mega T-Tar, yeah.
Okay. Fuck Mega T-Tar. All my homies hate Mega T-Tar.
We were saying while you were gone for a second, Coda, that it just Mega probably would have done a better in its
Yeah.
Except for Mega Banette. Like, any Mega that was left on the board. Bro should have taken Mega Swamper and sniped the shit out of that, so.
Wait, Fortress can't set up webs, right?
No, wait, yes, it can.
It can?
Can't it? I'm gonna double check. I don't remember if it's webs that it gets, but I think it does.
I think it just gets toxic spikes.
No, it doesn't.
Okay.
It gets T-spikes as well, and it gets regular spikes.
I think if he had webs, Tyranitar would have fit, like, better than it does. I still think Tyranitar kind of fits, though. Like, there were better Megas, but it's not, like, as much of a misfit as, like Mega Beedrill on Dorley's team, or, like, Mega Charizard on Blaster's team.
Right.
It's more like there's better Megas, but this one isn't really, like, taking away from the team much. It's just kind of...
Okay, I'm just doing one hater ass with making a chat for him.
I agree with that, Coda. I'm not a huge fan, but it could have been worse.
Yeah. It's not like he went to, like, yeah.
I'm gonna be flipping between my showdown and stuff, going and, like, Discord and everything, trying to keep what that hater says and everything.
Okay.
Because he asked me to make a chat for him.
And I agree with what you were saying about Gliscor coded, about how it's a great mon that doesn't really fit.
Yeah, Gliscor is amazing. It was definitely under-tiered at 1B here.
Yeah, I just, like, if he had, honestly, so, like, the chances of him actually getting this are pretty low, but if he could have got Lando T over Gliscor, I think it would have fit better.
He would have been sniping one of the people he was building with, so, yeah, that wouldn't have worked out.
Oh. But I think it would have been better because it would have actually benefited from Wish support, whereas Gliscor is just kind of sitting there on its own. Like, it kind of synergizes with Starmie a little bit, and it also pairs with T-Tar, but it doesn't really work with the rest of the team.
Honestly, I think that he shouldn't have gotten the ground flying, and he should have gotten, like, an Excadrill, and gotten Mega T if he wanted Mega T-Tar.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Like, bro, if this had an Excadrill instead of that Gliscor, this probably would have competed with, like, Cheese for the best team. But, like, Cheese's team is still better than this.
I kind of think this might be the second best, though.
Right now, this is the second best.
Yeah.
There's one or two more teams I like more than this. I personally like my team more as well, because Mega T-Tar is garbage. Fortress, garbage. Jolteon, garbage. Lapras, garbage.
Lapras isn't bad.
Haters saying you should have tried more for sand offense.
Yeah, if he had a sand option on this team, I think it'd be way better. I mean, it's still not bad though. It's pretty, it's solid. At least like all of his mons work well together, as opposed to like pretty much every other team except
Jolteon
Cuba.
does not work well here. I cannot say it does. Jolteon doesn't work well anywhere. You don't draft Jolteon.
I
Um,
think Rolenti has picked Ishiku's least favorite draft mods.
probably. Look, okay, so
Angel.
like I agree. I don't like Jolteon.
I love regular T-Tar. Mega T-Tar's trash. Jolteon, unless you have a rain team, it is absolute garbage. You can't touch ice types. I mean, you can't touch ice types. You can't touch ground types.
Yeah, I know what you
Fortress,
mean, but
Fortress just doesn't fit. Bro should have gotten Pex.
Oh man, okay. Hater agrees with you.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he does have Roselia for T-Spikes, but like...
he didn't need them because Fortress gets T-Spikes, right?
So now you're running on T-Spike Rapid Spin.
I mean, that's kind of one thing Fortress does pretty regularly.
Fortress likes to run Volt Switch, so you don't get to set up on it like that.
I mean, yeah, on some sets, but I'm sure you could just go like hazards plus spin if you really wanted to.
I guess.
Chao, that was a really good speed tier for him, though.
Yeah, Chao's great. Love the mod. Absolutely amazing. It's like a boss, one of the best breakers on the team. Great momentum. Knock plus high jump kick. Drops like everything but like left.
He could use a different like. Mienshow's a good breaker, but I think he could have used like one other breaker on the team, apart from that as well.
Yeah, I think
it's actually literally what Hater just said. No abuser.
I think more breakers than Mega T-Tar, the trash bag, and Mienshao and maybe Jolteon would have been worth it. Because Pulp, I don't consider it a breaker unless it's the Specs hex set.
It's not. Yeah, it's more of a like a. It can clean. It can
It's a cleaner. It's a sweeper.
Yeah.
And burst. Certain teams, it's a breaker unless you're running Specs hex. But with Roselia and Fortress as your T-Spike hex setters, more times than not, you're not going to be able to run Specs hex. And if you do, you're not going to have the paras and the poisons you need. Gliscor, the only good thing about Gliscor here is that it's a very good toxic spam. I really feel he could have benefited from a better discharge spammer. Because discharge plus T-Spikes, paras, and poisons almost every mod in the game but Lando and Gliscor. And electric types that are flying, so like Thunderous.
Okay. Raboot, I think, was a pretty decent 5 pick.
Yeah, Raboot was a cool tier 5 pick. I definitely looked at it, but Rolenti was like, don't second tag it, and I was like, alright.
And Roselia, okay. I think it's a decent enough last-ditch effort.
Roselia is really good.
You're saying that Lantern might have been a better pick than Jolteon.
Lantern could have replaced Lapras as well. Yeah, I definitely I agree. Lantern would have been really damn good. Lantern plus like Mega Absol and then Lapras.
He also needs a solid ground resist.
Yeah.
He just has Gliscor. And I guess Fortress to some extent.
Kind of Fortress taking like 50 from Bandit EQ from Ammo.
Anyways, any other thoughts on this team?
It's solid.
Hazards are good.
It's kind of
Pult,
like
hazards are good. Pult is almost unhealthy for draft with how good it is. Can benefit from more breakers. Removal is good. Hazards are good. But like, I'm not.
I think it's solid. I mean, out of all the teams we've seen so far, apart from Cheez-Its, it's like it's actually pretty well
Second best,
built.
no doubt.
Yeah, it's pretty like his mon. I guess like he had better options in a lot of situations. Like he could have gotten something that's like way better than Jolteon. He could have got a better Mega than Mega Tyranitar. He probably didn't need Roselia, to be honest. He probably could have got a grass type that actually resists ground.
I think Roselia is tier 5. Let me double check.
Yeah, no, Roselia is not bad. It's just that like on this team, I think he could have benefited more from like something that could actually like.
Yo, he should have gotten
Yeah.
a Torterra there.
Even like, oh yeah, in tier 5 Torterra, yeah.
Hater gives it a 6 out of 10.
I definitely give more than a 6 out of 10. I think it's like
7.
a 7.
Yeah.
7.5 is a very good spot for it, in my opinion.
It's not bad. It's just
Cheese, I'm giving a 10 out of 10. I don't care if it has its problems. That offense is blowing every team the fuck back.
it's kind of it's not that it's bad. It's just kind of suboptimal. Like it could have been better, but it's not bad. Like he has kind of what he needs.
Yeah. The bad picks are overthrown by Pulp being unhealthy.
And Sylveon being great.
I actually think Aromatines would have been better here.
Yeah. Well, no, not better than
It's more
Sylveon.
value.
Well,
I don't
okay,
think
yeah. For the tier, yeah, and then he could have got a better tier 2 than Sylveon. Yeah, I agree with that.
I really think Aromatines would have been better.
And then he could have got like Raikou instead of Sylveon, and then that would have been a better
Hater
electric
just
type, still a decent fairy type.
Hater says, honestly, just get a sand abuser.
Yeah, that would also help.
Okay, let's go on to
Gone
Amp.
now, though.
Yeah.
He could have gotten Drill before, but it's
Yeah.
gone now.
I actually
It's
wanted
now without return.
I actually wanted Gliscor. That's the thing. It was a snipe, so it's kind of annoying.
So we're moving on to Amp.
Yeah. So
He got
This team.
This team is like
bad, but like it is so jumbled up. It's
literally
kind
gonna
of
say
weird.
really like
Barraskewda without Rain Setter.
no, actually, it's actually not bad without
It's
without
not
rain.
bad without Rain, but like, don't you like not being able to run speed investment ever? Can literally sit there with max attack adamant full HP every single game and outspeed entire teams.
It actually still won't need that much speed investment. It is base 136.
Also, if you had Rain, you'd have a
love Drudicon as a tier 4.
Yeah, Drudigon's nice. It normally is tier 4, but like it's nice. It definitely is. Also, going back to Barraskewda without a Rain Setter, if you had Rain, you'd have a challenge. You'd have something that could beat Cheese's team. Just saying.
I guess.
Kind of likes his very skilled Dragon Core.
Yeah.
Underrated. Which I agree. I think Mega Steelix is a pretty good mod, and Togekiss is great.
The biggest question was Mega Aggron on the board when Mega Steelix went.
I don't think so, because it got sniped from me. I was wanting Mega Aggron. I'm pretty sure it was not.
If Mega Aggron was on the board when he took Mega Steelix, I do not rate that decision.
I think he just wanted a ground type, which Mega Steelix still gave him, and it was still. I mean, it's not as bulky as Mega Aggron, but it can still.
It can do a lot.
Yeah.
Oh wait, Mega Steelix is tier 3. Never mind. Mega Steelix is definitely the pick. That thing is valid as hell.
He prefers. Hater says he prefers Mega.
Mega Steelix is not bad, but when there's a 2-tier difference, yeah, Mega Steelix is definitely the pick.
He also says the firewater grass core is weird.
Let me
It
see.
is.
Incineroar, Barraskewda, Vileplume.
It's. Oh well, I think maybe he meant.
Barraskewda.
I think he meant for the firewater grass to probably be Vileplume, Incineroar, Silvally, Water.
Yeah, that would actually make more sense.
I kind of like his team.
I
But like,
love Incineroar. I don't really know how to talk about this team because most of the team just does everything. So like,
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like, I like this team because a lot of his mons can function in a lot of different ways. It's very versatile, especially when you kick off the draft with Mew and Silvally. Like, which I think is
Silvally went way too
yeah.
early. You do not draft Silvally in round 2, man.
Well, in a
Went full
26-man
on.
draft, when he already has Mew, that's actually kind of. I think that was actually. Well, okay, maybe if he took it. Well,
Round 3.
did he take? Yeah, round 3. That would have made more sense because there were more picks between. Yeah, that would make sense. But
He's close to Wheel.
yeah, he probably could have
Silvally
left it.
wasn't going before his next pick.
Yeah. Okay, that makes
I
sense.
definitely think that he could have gotten something strong as shit instead of that.
Multi attack buff, kind of. Yeah. Silvally actually hits kind of hard now.
Yeah, but when I say stronger, I mean like better for a tier 2. I don't like tier 2 Silvally that much.
I mean, I think Am's team is literally random. It works.
It's not like it's not totally random. I think
I could say honestly, I feel like I could put stuff into an random number generator and come out with this team.
I don't think it's like 100% random, but like it is sort of. I mean, I would never see like all these mons together, definitely. But I mean, I like it in the sense that like it's actually kind of equipped to deal with most other teams, like because he has Mew and Silvally, which are like the utmost of versatility, right? And then he has Galvantula, which
Togekiss, who is quite versatile as well.
wait, what else?
Togekiss,
Yes, yeah, that's
quite
what I was gonna say.
versatile
Yeah,
mon.
he's got Galvantula, which other like lead webs or it's just specs, right? Surfetch can run a few different sets, but they're mostly like they do the same thing more or less.
Banded, Scarf,
Yeah.
Life Orb,
Assault vest.
Expert Belt.
Peter says, I can't imagine this team together, and that's cute.
Yeah.
Don't know how team building will go. Yeah.
Drudagon can be bulky or it can be offensive. It can run. It can be like a pivot or it can be an offensive threat both ways.
Tier 5 Lopunny wasn't the move. There are better mons in Tier 5.
There are, but I mean, maybe he'll trick an assault vest onto like Blaxer's Pyukumuku or something.
That is.
There's like it has a very flexible moveset. And it's fast.
Very flexible moveset.
I mean, I feel like it can put in work. It's just not very strong or very like bulky. Obviously, I mean,
Yeah, Lopunny doesn't. Lopunny's fast, but it has a 76 attack and a 54 special attack.
it can kind of support though.
It can be decent support.
Yeah.
He Wish, a U-turn now. It's got the trick.
It can be decent support, but there were definitely better mods in Tier 5 to grab. Like, if you wanted a Tier 5 normal type, give me a second, I'll go find one.
Wave, yeah.
Burfrub.
I don't think I like Surfetch as a Tier 3 that much. I mean, I don't think I would ever pick it as a Tier 3.
Yeah, I've used it before. I liked it, but I don't think it's Tier 3.
Is undrafted.
And what were you saying, Coded?
So I have, yeah, I agree. I've used Surfetch before. I liked it, but it usually doesn't really have a reason to come in a lot of games. I think it's more of a Tier 4. Yeah.
I think is it 3B or 4? I mean 3B or 3A.
3B.
3A, but yeah, that was definitely overpriced.
3B is probably okay for it.
It's 3 slot, so.
Yeah.
I feel like the way that this worked is kind of weird for what do you call it, split tier drafts.
It was okay. Like it was fine for tiers 1, 2, 4, and 5, but for the tier threes, yeah, that's where it gets kind of weird. Because I remember like when I was drafting something that was 3B, it felt kind of weird because like the whole point of it being 3B is you'd spend less points on it, right? But
then just in your 3 slot, you're like, well, shit.
yeah, and you don't want to use a free pick on a tier 3 because you already get 2 of those anyway. So
I don't even see any Surfetch on the dock, bro.
It's there somewhere.
I'm sitting looking at tier 3 and I don't see it.
I found it at some point. At the control.
it's in 3B.
Oh wait, I was looking at 2B and 3A. That's why I didn't see it.
Yeah.
There says he would have gone Machamp over Surfetch.
Oh yeah, maybe. Yeah. I can
I've
see
never
that.
used Machamp, so I don't have an opinion on that one.
I've never.
It would have
I
been.
think Valkyrie is awesome.
I don't like
Assassin's
this team's
such a
removal.
great.
The only removal on this team is Mew and Togekiss.
And Savali, right?
Oh yeah, Silvally.
Well, it's okay, but you don't want to run defensive Mew all the time.
Yeah, that's what ends up happening. Like I noticed that. So if you draft Mew, like the team basically has to be formed as if Mew didn't exist. Otherwise, Mew's just going to be forced into the same role every week. I think that's kind of what happened here. But I mean, maybe not. I mean, he does have a defensive like the Togekiss, Steelix, Dredagon is actually pretty good as a defensive core. So Mew can still be offensive.
I don't like defensive Togekiss.
It's more like
generally always gravitate towards offensive Togekiss because String Grace.
yes,
like nasty blocks, all that bullshit.
It is a good defensive viable mon.
I think Mew actually can kind of do it at once on this team. It's just kind of no, actually, I think it fits. I like how Mew and Savali fit here. They kind of patch up whatever other weakness the team would have. Like if it needs an extra defensive pivot, then Mew can be that. But if it needs something else they can like set up and sleep, Mew can be that too.
Yeah. The offense on this team is very minimal. Like the only breaker on this team is Surfetch. I would not consider Barraskewda a breaker without
yeah.
Togekiss is like a pseudo breaker.
Yeah.
It can be. It can be depending on the team.
Flinch to death.
Yeah, I agree. There's no breaker. Surfetch is a good breaker, but when that's your only breaker, that's a huge problem.
Same thing as what happened with Rolenti, basically.
Same thing as what happened with Peter. His only breakers
are
Shifu, Rapid Strike, and I only have shit to talk about that team.
I like Galvantula, but don't really like. He's not bring webs that much. Maybe Togekiss never
doesn't Mew get webs now?
Does Mew get webs?
Does it?
It
doesn't. It's illegal. It's not a TR or anything.
Yeah, it's safe to assume Mew gets everything.
Yeah, it doesn't get that. I mean, because it's not a TR or anything. But I mean, wait, his team actually isn't bad with webs though. Actually, he doesn't really have.
After I said it, I was like, oh crap, it actually is okay.
Yeah, it's not the worst. He doesn't have like a solid webs abuser, but I think Surfetch shouldn't be bad under webs, and then Mew can also be okay. Silvally too.
Basically, what I remember him telling me was that he wanted to get as much of what Mons got with Tutor moves, and like, I feel like if he got range, he could have used Flip Turn with his team so much more.
I mean,
I really think.
Yeah. It's Little Cup Rain Setter.
There isn't one.
Wingle.
There isn't a Little Cup Rain Setter?
Wingle. Doesn't Wingle get Drizzle?
No, only Pelipper, Politoed, Kyogre. And I don't think Kyogre's allowed.
Wingle, yeah.
I just looked up Drizzle, and the only ones that get it are Pelipper, Politoed,
Wingle gets Rain Dish for some reason, not Drizzled.
Oh, okay. Never mind then.
Sucks.
Yeah. Okay,
so I think
real quick. Yeah, he can't really get anything as a rain setter, but like anymore. But when he built it, if you incorporated rain plus speed, you could flip turn spam on top. But I guess having rain when there's another rain team could get really conflicting with picks.
It made,
Wait, I don't think Pelipper was drafted.
Oh, it wasn't.
Pelipper was not.
Wow. Oh yeah, he probably could have actually done with Pelipper.
Yeah, Skuta, Pelipper, and then some other core. Also, that
I don't know. I would say his team is probably in the bottom half, but it's better than most of the other teams that we've looked at.
So far.
It's better than Dolphins and Beaters, in my opinion. I think it's better than Dorley's. As I said, I like Blackster's team more than you guys, but I might be better than Blackster's. Urshifu plus Thunder's team plus all that hazard stack is just scary as shit.
This is a tough one. I'm gonna stick with my just opinion, random. It's fun though.
That could really work. It definitely could.
Yeah, I don't think this is a bad team by any means. Is it better than Rolanti's?
By no means is it bad, but by no means is it the best team ever created. It definitely could work, and Barracuda plus Webs isn't bad. Like, you say there's no Webs abuser. Yeah, Barracuda has a very high speed tier, but against teams like Jesus, Barracuda can win game. Can just win that game alone if it gets Webs up. Besides Lucha.
As long as Alex Sam has made it already.
No, it's not. In Magic Guard, you still get hit by the hazards, but they don't. Like, T-Spikes, you get poison, but you don't take the poison damage.
You lose speed, Magic
Yeah,
Card?
you lose speed. You lose speed.
Okay.
The only one you would need boost to not do.
Okay.
So, is that everything?
Hater says he likes Barracuda.
Yeah, Barracuda's good, but, like, it would have been way better with Rain.
I've said my piece.
We done with them, this team?
Now we're going on to the team that I truly don't like.
So, we are moving on to the semifinalist of last season's team.
He was a semifinalist?
I'm pretty sure, right?
He's going to put in work. I don't like this team.
First pick, Volcarona.
No.
Big Togo. Man could have taken a
His
top
removal
Togo.
is Rotamo and Scyther.
Mandibuzz.
Okay. But even then, like,
Mandibuzz is one of the best removers in the
yeah,
damn game.
but I think it's probably his only good remover apart from Rotamo.
Rotomo's a decent removal. Like,
Okay.
his removal wasn't bad. I'm not going to say his removal was bad. You also have Salamence, who isn't a bad, who has a good bulky set.
Can wish pass.
Yeah. I definitely don't have a problem with the removal here. Now, let's go on to his hazards. Dugtrio Alola, Stone Junior, Lycan Rock Dusk. Have fun with having rocks up. Two of those rocks are going to come one game at most, and one of them is like the closest thing you have to a breaker.
Yeah. I think Volcarona's scary as hell because his typical breakers are not.
This guy is going to be relying on Volcarona so much.
And again, I feel like his team. Oh, he has Scyther. Wing beat is pretty crazy.
Yeah, but I really don't rate that as a breaker. So, like, it's a good breaker, but man, you're a Scyther. You're taking 50% from rocks, and same with Volcarona. So now half your team is going to be, so like 1/3 of your team is going to be boots every single week. And if you're bringing them in,
Haters likes this the most part. He says 3 flying types is ass.
bird spam is okay.
Who's gonna actually do bird spam? Third. That's it, right? And the buzz is never actually gonna be offensive.
Yeah, but like, just the bird spam typing isn't bad.
Okay.
Now, yes, I definitely think he could have gotten something better than Cypher here.
I don't know. I like.
Cypher's good, don't get me wrong, but like, another situation where you should have got Heracrawl.
Like his team, like it's like the classic team that gets destroyed by bulky.
Bro, I don't like that this man has 3 mons that run boots every single week, and Salamence, who if you're running the bulky set, which is one of his few defoggers, you have to run boots. Like, he has Mandibus, Volcarona, Scyther, and Salamence. Like, it's heavy duty boots the team.
Just make sure every mon on your team has knockoffs and then get up those rocks and it's over.
Well, the thing is with Volcarona, it can punish you for knockoff spamming with Flame Body.
That's
but
why
this guy has 2 of the most nuts mons on the ladder that are garbage in draft: Caldio and Volcarona.
Keldeo is not bad in draft, but I don't think he drafted it very well around it. Volcarona is also not bad in draft, but it was his round 1, so I don't really know if I agree with that.
Not garbage, but like.
Yeah, compared to like other tier 1s, they're not nearly as like. Yeah, they're not like as.
They're not anywhere near as nuts as they are on the ladder.
Yeah.
Because when you're prepping for Volcarona, you bring knockoff, you bring stealth rocks. You know what you're doing to deal with it. Now, Volcarona is just going to tank my team. But, like, that's because my rocks equals Mega Maul,
Actually, in general, his team's pretty rock weak. Like, Stone Edge is pretty free.
He doesn't have a rock. Okay, never mind. I don't want to hear the Doug Trio Lola is a rock resist.
But actually, bulky Keldeo can be a rock resist. It's just that like it's pretty easy to check. It's the only thing with it.
Edgequake destroys his team. That's what Hater says, and Bolt Beam destroys his team. Literally the 2 of the most common move combos.
Latios has some fun.
Yeah.
Like Rock Dusk.
I'm liking the mon, but like, again, it's only breaker.
Most of his offensive mons work really well individually, but they don't really pair well with each other or with the rest of the team, basically.
Honestly, yeah.
He didn't even need like Aromatisse because his bulk has reliable recovery. Which even then he doesn't really have much in terms of like actual like bulky pivots.
Also, he has Mega Guard for if you need Wish Pass, bro.
Yeah, there's that too.
You might want to look out
for the bad pick.
On this team, yes.
Trick Room is useless for his team.
Have you ever heard of Banded Mandibus? I actually used that in a game once and it got 2 kills.
Wow. Wait, but
told you to shut up, Ishii.
I used that in the league that he was in. That's why I didn't do it to him, but I did it to someone else.
I would say this is probably the weakest team.
I think it might be the worst one we've seen so far.
Either his or Peters. I really don't know though if it's his or Peters.
Just have to for his team. You just have to make sure you have a mon that can Gardevoir and Volcarona, which is hard, just not easy. Like his physical presence is really bad. Other than I'd say his best physical mon is Scyther. Bird spam is awesome. Dusk you can prepare for pretty easily. Elements is great, but I don't know, it just seems kind of blah with the rest of this. Even though it's such a good mod.
He could have drafted better around most of his individual. Like if he had like, well, with Salamence, if he had like screens, maybe I think that would be a lot better. Which I guess he does have with Rotom.
If you draft
like-
well around Volcarona, I can agree with it as a round one pick. If you don't draft well around Volcarona, you do not round one it. If you're gonna not build around a mon as your round one pick, you draft something broken like Coco or Torrentine.
So it was 100% like I want to draft these mons because I think they're fun or I haven't used up as much type of.
What I understand that, I do, but like it's not a team that on paper is taking a championship. But who knows? Smiley's a good player.
Yeah. That's what I just read. That is good.
I wish a reliable steel type was present here. What's his steel type?
I think it'll be interesting seeing how he makes it work. I mean, so with Bader's team, we said the same thing. Or like, if he plays really well with his draft, he can definitely put in a lot of work with it, right?
Yeah.
But
like all of these mons have been out for a while and have done the same thing for ever, basically, except for like Scyther. But I really think that mon should be replaced. Like, all of these mons have been doing the same thing. If you're comfortable with them, they can work. Like, a Trail Lola brings good speedy, like, what do you call it? Shit. Forgot my train of thought.
it's a good cleaner. He doesn't have anything apart from that'll actually just clean up at the end of the game. Apart from maybe like Scarf Salamence. Also,
what I was thinking is support. It brings Stealth Rock, it brings Memento. It brings stuff that helps support, but other than that,
yeah,
I don't. Real steel type would have done so much more for him. Like, get yourself a Reggie Steel, bro.
Reggie Steel was tier 2.
What the fuck?
If actually, so considering Rotom can actually set screens for his team, I think it's a little bit better than I initially thought. Because Salamence, Gardevoir, and Volcarona can all put in work under screens.
Volcarona doesn't really benefit all that much from screens.
He gets the extra Quiver Dance off.
I feel like Volcarona already gets that extra Quiver Dance off, and I personally think Bulky Volcarona is the better side. You run Roost, Bug Buzz, Quiver Dance, Flamethrower, and literally just set up nonstop. And unless they have a really damn good physical attack, you're getting the +6.
Salamence, I would say, is only truly versatile mon.
Yeah.
You can run bulky Volcarona with like defog and you turn like support, but like I don't rate that set. Rotom is versatile.
I'm always a fan of a mon. I'm always a fan of at least having one mon that can go physical or special.
Yeah, I don't see that.
Salamence can do that. It has a Hydro Pump, it has Hurricane, I think.
I don't remember Salamance's special attack. I'm gonna go check that.
100. It's 110.
Oh, okay, yeah. I thought it was a lot lower. I thought it was like 80. Yeah, it can be a special attack.
Air Blast, Flamethrower.
Yeah, that could work. You can run your nasty plot Mandibuzz, bro. And then your abandoned Mandibuzz.
Well, Hater says my takeaway is basically the potential is there. You just need to grab it.
Alright, so we done with this team?
I think so.
Yeah.
Next up is your team, DJ.
Alright.
Tapu Koko this late in the draft. Hilarious. Tapu Koko is like a top 3 pick. Seeing it fall this far is insane. It is an insane mod, and just now it has CC and play rough. Find your switch in.
I think it's actually really good. I remember, so you actually sniped me on Rillaboom, which was annoying. But actually, the team looks a lot better than I thought it was going to look when you said you were going to do the double terrain. Like,
I don't see what grassy terrain does for the team.
it gives
But
Empoleon
at the
extra recovery, also takes less from EQ, same with Salazzle.
Fair.
Yeah,
Salazzle died. Okay, so you see terrain.
yeah.
Why are you not
Also,
running Stomping Tantrum or High Horsepower first?
yeah, wait. Also,
And even a 50 base power, he's probably dropping Salazzle.
oh, probably. Wait. Also, another thing is, I'm pretty sure in this league you're allowed to use the hidden ability Tapus. So if you really wanted to, he could just run Telepathy Coco under grassy terrain, and then that would also be benefiting, taking less from EQ and
I'm
getting
gonna
recovery.
go check the format and see if it is allowed real quick. Let me see. So that deck's DLC 2, right?
Yeah.
Coco. I think it is actually allowed.
I think it works on Coco only.
Yeah, grassy terrain for Empoleon definitely is good. And it does say that telepathy is allowed for Coco.
Yeah, like I mean, Coco taking less from EQ is kind of cool actually. And then it gets and then Hitmonlee actually abuses either terrain.
Yeah, Coco can use telepathy.
Yeah.
Insane. I verified it.
Also, Mega Sableye.
Was definitely something I like.
Also, Mega Sableye under grassy terrain is kind of broken because then it's also getting that passive recovery.
Yeah. I really wish that this team had a Hex Spammer. Mega Sableye plus Hex Spam is really damn good.
Wait, hold on.
Personally, I'm not a big fan of Manaphy, especially on this team. Like, one, it's not that strong in the current meta. Like, it's good, but it's not. It really liked that Z Rain dance last gen. Two, you could have used it for maybe even something like you could have used it for something better. Like Manaphy is in tier 1B. You could have gotten a damn Suicune for that. You could have gotten a Tyranitar. You could have gotten a Cresselia,
I mean,
a Conk.
the thing about it is like I think it's still decent. Like base 100 across the board means that at least stat wise it can be kind of versatile.
Yeah.
You still have to prep for like Tail Glow at the end of the day, and it gets a lot of coverage to support that.
I think Conk was definitely the move over Manaphy here.
Yeah. Well, he already had Hitmonlee, but maybe
an extra breaker would definitely be more worth it than a Hitmonlee, in my opinion. And like, you could still have Hitmonlee because Hitmonlee and Conk fill different roles. Conk is a breaker. Hitmonlee can be a sweeper. It can be bulky removal. It does many different things than just break, which it doesn't really do. Then Masquerade is really damn good in Tier 5. You get Intimidate, you get Webs, you get Quiver Dance sets. I really like the mod, especially for Tier 5.
Yeah.
Fuck Claydol. Shit mod.
Oh wait, actually, I was gonna say Claydol actually does get Hex, and I mean, like, I know it's, I mean, base 70 special attack does suck, but like with
If you're trying to hex spam with a Claydol,
I mean, it does get Nasty Plot, which actually makes the 70 special attack usable, at least at +2.
you have to now not die when you set up or the turn after because you're slow as shit.
I mean, yeah.
Hater, remember your audio quality. I did not understand a damn thing.
So he was saying that Claydol isn't the best, but it's kind of good. Like it can at least do something. It's a lot better than it was in Gen 7 with the rapid spin buff, teleport, nasty plot.
Claydol is just barely above Zatu tier of garbage.
Zatu is not bad.
Claydol doesn't get the scorchings.
I don't know much about the move yet. I know it's like a 70 base power move with the chance to burn, but like,
I haven't used it.
I don't know if Claydol is going to be able to abuse that, personally. But yeah, Claydol is not a hex spammer. It's just not.
It can be. If you need it to be, it actually can. It has the base stats at least. The 75 isn't good, but if after a rapid spin, it's actually going to outspeed some things. And it's kind of bulky too, actually.
So now you have to get a rapid spin and nasty plot off. And
yeah, with 105 defense, 120 SPDF. You have to get a nasty plot and a rapid spin off, which actually seems kind of doable.
It's doable, but against strong offensive mods, it's really not going to happen.
That's assuming that, like, you bring it in. That's assuming you specifically bring it in on the offensive mon, though. Like,
yeah, that's obvious,
yeah.
but like,
yeah.
Weakness policy, rapid spin would probably work better as a hex spammer.
It can do that, I think.
It can.
Yeah.
But that would work better because you only have to take one hit now. And since you have a decent amount of weaknesses, you probably will take a super effective hit.
It gets stored power.
You also get Hex with the team with Salazzle and Mega Sableye.
But you could rapid spin, weakness policy, and then stored power sweep with also with Hex, right, under the T-Spike support.
Yep. Well, I don't think Salazzle gets T-Spikes,
Yeah,
but you
it
still
does.
get a shit ton of Toxic and
Yeah.
Will-O-Wisps off. So, Cure Coco. We haven't mentioned that yet.
Yeah.
I can't name one mon that's taking a hit from those two.
I don't think there is. Well, yeah, I don't think so. Not after the DLC.
Magnezone.
Plus combat.
CC.
And Earth Power on Kirim.
Air Balloon was what I was about to say, but like CC.
Yeah.
Yeah, nothing is taking a hit from those two. How are the hazards on this team? So, Empoleon for rocks, Sticky Webs with Masquerade. Does Licky get rocks?
No.
No, that's well, yeah. I always get Licky and Miltank slurs messed up.
They do, yeah. They kind of.
Claydol as a rocker, I don't like that much. So, removal on this team, Empoleon really feels like the band-aid that it gets put into a lot, making it so much worse on. It's here as one of the main rockers, and it is here as the rocker. It's Claydol. And it's here as your best defogger besides. Yeah, it's here as your best defogger. So Hitmonlee won't really get to run
Best defogger.
It is best defogger.
Yep. Defogger.
is your best because Hitmonlee is now losing out on its terrain abuse with double terrain. And Claydol.
Claydol actually kind of adds something else to the team in the sense that, like, when you rapid spin, you're not getting rid of the terrain, but you're boosting your speed and you're getting rid of hazards with the same move. So I think that also fits in that sense too.
Yeah, my only problem with this is the hazard removal, really. The breaking is insane. The setup is minimal, but it's there with Manaphy and Rillaboom. Even Mega Sableye is a decent setup on Calm Mind.
Blazzle, even though it's paper thin, does get nasty plot.
Yeah. I think it's DD. I almost got swept by a DD Blazzle today in a draft late match.
That's awesome.
But then he missed an Iron Tail and I killed Mega Aerodactyl.
Oh, that's a bummer.
Yeah, I still lost that match because, like, it was an unwinnable matchup, but I almost lost to Salazzle on the spot. What needs wish support here? Empoleon? Give Empoleon boost already, Game Freak. Goddamn.
I think Empoleon's fine here. The only problem is that
yeah, I don't have a problem with Empoleon. I think it fits here. I think it fits well here. I'm just saying give it Roost.
Yeah, I think it needs Roost.
And my problem with Empoleon isn't it here as it's the Band-Aid here. My problem is that it is that Band-Aid, so it isn't as good of a mod.
I guess that does make sense, yeah. This team seems pretty solid, though, overall.
Yeah, the team is good. It is definitely a good team.
I think I would actually put it second.
Yeah, right now it definitely is. I definitely think that this team is better than Rolandi's, because Rolandi's problems just piss me off.
Well,
Other than Claydol, I like this team. I wouldn't use this team if it didn't have Claydol.
We could move on to Stumbles, then, I think.
Jesus Christ. Zeraora, Chop Pex, Aegislash, Greninja, Uxie.
Uxie is legitimately terrifying now.
Uxie's Pex as a defensive makes me want to die.
In another league that I've been in, I got 2 sweeps with Nasty Plot Uxie.
With weakness policy?
Oh, just Nasty Plot.
Oh, because I thought if you did like Nasty Plot, weakness policy, stored power, that could be kind of cool.
Guys, just webs with Mega Guard Chomp. That shit hurts. That's all I have to say about Mega Chomp. You don't have to be Mega right away, so you can sit there with a regular Guard Chomp for half the game, drop a sub at the end of the game, and SD up and sweep with Mega Chomp.
This team seems solid. It seems kind of knockoff weak.
Knockoff and ground weak, even with Cian Orbeetle.
Mega Chomp is an amazing knockoff switching.
Not gonna be getting all 3 of those, like 2 of those. You're probably only bringing 1 of those 3.
Sweet 3 what?
Uxie, Orbeetle, and Leafeon.
Probably, yeah.
Leafeon, I don't like here.
I'm thinking for like ground. Because a ground switching
problem.
Could also come.
Breaker, Earthquake, 1,000 Arrows. Any ground type that can hit everything on this team. Because, like, I feel the team should have got a flying type. Like, also, I'm not a big fan of Snorlax. I don't see what's so good about it, personally.
Okay. So I think he has decent bulk and it synergizes pretty well. Like
Yeah.
Snorlax, Uxie, Toxapex, even Aegislash, Orbeetle. They all work. And then yeah, Garchomp plus Webs is pretty good. I mean, this team.
So, before we did this, I asked him, why the fuck did you not get a Sand Setter with Mega Chomp and Sand Slash? And he's like, well, Mega Chomp doesn't need Sand. I was like, yeah, that's true. That's true as hell. But you have a Sand Slash. And he mentioned it. Sand Slash now gets Spikes and Rapid Spin. So Sand Slash is definitely more of a utility mon here. Although Sand Slash doesn't really live hits well. I did a calcs for a league I had it in, and it never was worth bringing because it got 2-hit KO'd by everything. So I feel Sand Slash without a Sand Setter isn't amazing, even though Sand Slash still isn't a good Sand abuser. I just don't think Sand Slash is an amazing mod.
Yeah, but the team kind of like Spike Stack, which Sandslash can do now.
Yeah, that is true, but again, Sand Slash doesn't really live hits well, and it doesn't pressure all that much out with a low speed tier. Not the highest attack, if I remember correct.
It's like 110 or 1. I think its attack is 100 and it's just
100 attack. Yep. You aren't living any special hits. 110 defense doesn't allow you to live very hard physical hits. And then you don't pressure much out with the 100 attack. So you probably will get like one layer of spikes at most. Now, the sticky webs with Orbeetle plus Mega Chomp are absolutely nuts. Zeraora is an amazing one. And at 26, man, being able to get Zero with that high of speed tier is fucking nuts.
He also has good speed tiers, like just in general. He's got Zeraora, then Greninja,
Yeah.
wait,
Zeraora,
then Leafeon, I think.
I think Mega Chomp's above Leafeon. Mega Chomp's 91.
Leafeon's faster.
Leafeon's 110, I'm pretty sure. 95.
It's 95.
Oh, okay. Well, that is.
4 points.
Yeah, actually, maybe. Yeah, that is kind of a gap, actually.
Yeah, that's a pretty big gap. And then there's a gap from Mega Chomp to his next mon, I think. Like a lot of these mons are speed tiers, I don't know about. Yeah, Uxie's also at 95. So there's a gap from Mega Chomp to either like Orbeetle, Sandslash, or Ursaring, which is or Snorlax or something. Like there's huge gaps here. The speed tiers aren't really that good. Like
I don't really get why he has Ursaring.
I'm guessing
it might not be
tier 5.
It might not.
It's like fucking boss. But
like Hippopotamus or whatever it's called.
Oh, that would be better. Yeah, I was thinking maybe it might be nice under webs with its guts activated.
Again, I'm with him on him not needing a Sand Setter. Because Mega Chomp does not abuse sand. It uses sand, but does not abuse it.
Yeah.
Sandslash is not a sand abuser. By no means is it a sand abuser. It uses sand. It's in the same spot as Chomp. It has an ability that uses sand, but does not abuse sand.
But why Ursaring when you have Snorlax?
There could have been better picks than Ursaring, but it's not as bad as like getting a Hippopotas in my opinion. Because now you're stuck with damn Hippopotas, which fuck does Hippopotas do other than set sand?
I mean, set sand. That's really about it.
Yeah, team is definitely good. Mega Chomp gets the what's its rocks on his team? Sandslash, Mega Chomp, Uxie.
least he doesn't get rocks. Sorry,
This
yes,
doesn't.
sorry. Yes. I got mixed up for a second. And he has spikes and T spikes with Greninja.
Yes.
And
Sticky Webs, Dwarf Beetles,
His only remover is Spin on Sandslash.
That's terrible.
Yeah, removal is a huge problem here. I'm sure Stumbles can make it work, but the team does have its problems.
Yeah, only having Sandslash as your removal.
Yeah.
It's worse than my removal.
Claydol is better removal than Sandslash, as much as I hate to say it.
I think removal was probably an issue for a lot of teams here, though, because I think a lot of the Pokemon that would have been good removers, they were probably just taken at the time. People might have wanted to grab them.
Bro, Nox took every good remover in the damn game. And that's why no one has removal. He took Rotom, Heat, Corviknight, and what do you call it, Tapu Fini. Man with no removal for anyone.
Did he?
Yeah.
Stumbles got large gaps in speed tiers.
Large gaps in speed tiers.
So only one removal. But our Chomp is a threat. It just slashes. Problem is with not enough removal, Toxapex can't get worn down.
Depends on the team you're playing, honestly. Because if it's just Stealth Rocks, Pex is fine. If it's Spikes and Stealth Rocks, that becomes a huge damn problem. Like, I could see him running Boots Pex sometimes against really good hazard stack. Which isn't that bad. I'm not gonna lie. Boots Pex in draft could be useful. Although Bandit Pex is the best set.
Wait. If you put Boots on a grounded poison, is it still able to remove T spikes?
Probably. I don't see why it wouldn't be.
Because then it's not affected by hazards at all. So maybe it just doesn't.
We'll see.
Yeah.
I think overall, I would say Uxie could be the best mon on his team.
Uxie the best mon on his team? I don't know about that.
You don't even know.
Uxie is great, but it is not the best mon on any team. It's an amazing mon, but like, it's extremely important to this team. But Zeraora is definitely the best mon on this team. Aegislash is second. Maybe Garchomp is second.
Uxie is going to be his kill leader.
If Uxie gets kill leader this season,
The kill leader. His kill leader.
if Uxie gets his kill leader, I'm still going to be surprised.
It's my kill leader and my other.
We ready to move on to last season's champ?
Yeah.
This will be the last person, right?
Yeah, it'll have to be. Unless we do this in like 10 minutes, then we could do one more, but I don't think we can do that.
And let's just end with Lando.
Yeah.
Okay, so round one Melmetal already a garbage draft.
Okay, hold on.
Okay, this team is thick.
So I'm already seeing a lack of like really good breakers. Like I don't consider Melmetal a good breaker. Never will.
Okay, wait, hold on. So
it always gets over prepped for, and then it does jack shit.
Okay, hold on.
Melmetal with Cinderace is pretty good.
So the thing about Melmetal is that usually if people prep for the banned set, and then when it's not banned, and it isn't just clicking double iron bash the whole time, they assume it's not doing anything. But I think what Melmetal does on this team...
I prep for Iron Defense Body Press and Band and Toxic Stall. Toxic stall beats the shit out of people.
Yeah, it does. I mean,
That is the scariest set because people don't prep for it, and then you get every single mod toxic, and you're like, oh shit, I have half my team on 30% with a mega Pidgeot sitting right there.
I think his team's pretty good.
yeah, it is. I think that he has good pivots in Serena, Electros. Primarina is a decent pivot now with flip turn. So
Maeve has a new turn.
yeah, Primeape. So, I meant like bulky pivots, but yeah.
So
Yeah,
there's like zero, what do you call it, recovery on this team, and he has no wish pass.
Yeah, that's true.
That's the biggest issue. It will get chipped down. Even with decent hazard removal, it's get chipped down.
He's going to be forced to run Boot Sarina, or somebody's going to toxic spikes spam him, and he's going to lose a shit ton.
Oh, does he have no grounded poison? That's a big deal.
He doesn't have a poison type, right? At all.
Not everyone's going to have a grounded poison because there aren't that many good grounded poisons in the format. Like,
it's a decent amount.
There's a 26 good poisons that are
sure?
grounded. There's a 26 good grounded poisons. Like
Garbodor is still available, and I would consider that a pretty decent one.
Oh, Garbodor is still available. Yeah, Garbodor should have definitely been here over like Electros or like Primeape.
Maybe over Crustle, not over Electros, because I think he needs that.
Oh, is what do you call it? Garbodor not a tier 4.
Is it?
It's tier 4.
Oh, what's tier?
It's definitely tier 4 because it gets spikes and T-spikes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 4B.
It's low-key a pretty good one.
Garbodor should definitely be replaced without Electros, and then like Nervous is so damn bad.
Do you like his Goodra, Middle, and Primarina? It's just nice and thick.
Those are so many. All three of those moms honestly wish they got recovery. Like, the only moms with recovery on this team are Mega Pidgeot, Necrozma, and Serena. And there's no wish.
He needs a wish passer.
Yeah.
Webstone adds nothing for this team. Shell Smash across the walls, so it doesn't do anything for them.
Soul's a great tier 5 Pokemon, but not.
It's great in tier 5, but it does nothing here.
Yeah, not for this team.
Positive things. Hazards
is okay.
Brunerigus is really necessary because of how much hazard stack it gets. Offensively, the team can be quite scary. I really don't want to have to play a Cosmic Power, Rest, Recycle, Chesto, Stored Power, Necrozma. Like, I'd really appreciate not.
I'll have to do some Tail Glow.
I don't think Tail Glow Manaphy beats it, bro.
If it hasn't boosted, it might, but otherwise, no.
2 Tail Glows plus 6 versus a plus 2.
So that is, I'm not gonna theory mine right now.
Yeah, I mean, you've been theory mining like all night, so not theory mine for one.
And no, I haven't really theory mined like that, but like, I haven't gone into like deliberate situations. I've given mods that nuke teams, but like,
that's... Bring up your team every chance you get, though.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah. I mean, Fling Tangrowth.
That was a played out joke.
Like, I think he's got a good Yeah, I think he could use Wish Pass, but I mean, yeah, I don't think there's any. I do like how he.
Lackluster removal and Serena and Cinderace, and then Mega Pidgeot.
Wait, what's wrong with Cinderace?
That's his removal.
Oh yeah. I mean,
There's
right,
nothing
it's not.
wrong with
Yeah,
those
yeah. I mean,
mods.
it's not bad as like.
Cinderace is great.
Yeah.
I love Cinderace. Mon, it's so damn good.
No,
But
wait. He actually has good. Yeah.
Cinderace and Serena and then Mega Pidgeot is removable
Oh.
isn't really the most reliable in my opinion. Like,
Yeah.
Serena's good removal, but it's not a mon that can come every game.
Didn't he get? Oh, it got triple axle, right?
Who?
Serena.
Oh.
I have
Yeah.
no clue.
I'm pretty sure it did. Yeah.
I think
Let me
got triple
check.
axle, which is a nice little buff for it.
What does that do for it?
Just can now
Can hit
take on
flying
other
types now.
ground types.
Like.
Most of the times you're probably still going to be running like Rapid Spin Synthesis, U-Turn, Grass Move, just to get the fuck out of there.
Yeah, it's just an option.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Offensive Serena's still a thing.
Well, this team needed to be removable though, because having to run court change with hazard stack. I don't know.
Yeah, he can't run court change if he's hazard stacking.
Yeah, he can't. He basically won't ever bring areas and court change in the same game.
Yeah, that makes sense. Overall, it seems kind of solid, though. I mean, well, it's not the worst. I mean, if he had Wish Pass, I think it would be a lot better. Like if he had I don't.
Yeah, Wish Pass would bring this team from like 5 to like I think a 6, maybe a 7.
I would say this team is.
Yeah, I don't think it's like a 5. I think it is more of like a 6 or a 7.
Well, what we said this Roland teams was like a 7.5. I don't rate this near Roland teams, to be honest.
Well, yeah, maybe.
But yeah, it's good. It is very good. Necrozma is an amazing mon. Cinderace is an amazing mon. Melmetal's overrated as shit.
Melmetal's an amazing mon.
Melmetal is an amazing mon.
I don't know what you're talking about.
It's a good mon, but it's overrated. It's how.
Gudra's actually pretty sick and will disappoint people who don't prepare enough for it because they get too focused on Crosma and Melmetal.
Yeah, I've used Melmetal with Necrozma on the same team before. It was really good, but I actually had Wish Pass on that team.
I'm pretty sure Sim had Necrozma and Melmetal on the same team the season of Coliseum he won. I think he had like Coco, Necro, Mal.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that team was dumb as hell. I'm gonna go see if I might go try and find it.
Yeah. Okay. So
anything else we want to say about this team?
it has good braking power. Yeah, I think he has good cleaners. His bulk could use a little bit of
Also, I want to say, what is Primeape doing here?
This camp.
It's doing what?
Meaning when Cinderace can.
Basically, yeah.
Doesn't Primeape have like a 60 speed?
No, Primeape is I think it's either
95.
Yeah.
Just
I
throw Scarf
don't
on
really
it.
see 95 as a good cleaning speed.
With Scarf?
Just throw Scarf on it.
And it has Defiant
I feel like
too.
there's definitely better mods than Primeape for the team.
Yeah, probably.
Like 95.
There's probably better fighting types for the team.
Like
he could have
105 attack with 95 speed really isn't that good.
Hold on. He could have
paper thing too.
It's not even in tier 5.
This might not have been like the best he could have done, but he could have got Garbodor instead of Primeape and then throw over Crustle.
Yeah.
So Mape does have the Defiant, but prevents Defog.
Yeah.
Where's Defiant?
Wait, but that probably isn't the best on this team, right? Because he kind of wants his hazards up.
Yeah, so he basically will try to set up the hazards first.
Yeah.
And then you have to worry about clicking defog if he has Defiant, because if you mess up with the defog, then you get nuked.
And he has a spin blocker.
Yeah, I meant like it's more like he's got Defiant, which is kind of discouraging other teams from defogging, but he doesn't have very good defog options himself. So a defog could actually help him in the right situation. But if that's on the team, then
Yeah,
they're
his
less
only
likely.
defogger is Mega Pidgeot.
Yeah.
And then he has spin and court change.
Yeah.
Which court change in 90% of matches isn't getting clicked. Because you're going to have T-spikes, rocks, webs. It has the problem that Blackster has with its removal, and he has a shit ton of hazard stack. Very questionable removal, but I'd say Blackster's biggest problem is that his removal was with Megazord X.
He had best defogger.
Plus zero. Greatest defogger of all time.
Klefki is actually pretty decent.
Yeah, it's not a bad
He also
defogger,
has
but
Florges, the best defogger ever created, and Thunderous Therian, and Swoobat. Don't you hear all these good defoggers, bro?
Conk.
He doesn't have Conk.
Oh, you're actually just listing Pokemon on this.
Yeah.
I'm zoning.
Florges isn't bad defog, but it kind of isn't always able to fit it. It can though.
Coded.
Yeah.
Internet about to.
In about 20 minutes or over 20 minutes.
We're done with the Internals team now, right?
Yeah.
They're pretty good missing some pieces.
Yeah.
Nothing
So,
probably firmly in the
do
middle.
we have time to move on to the Rain team, or do we wait for tomorrow for the Rain team?
We could try the Rain team. I have like 26 minutes.
Okay. Rain.
I like this team.
Yeah, his team is solid.
I like his team. Starting the low tier, I think Volby can pass to a Kingdra and it can totally destroy everybody.
I think he got Volby
If
because
you ain't passing a nasty plot into any mod with iron defense, and then passed a nasty plot plus iron defense plus that to Zapdos, and then agility.
he probably got that for the Tail Glow pass. But wait, but what actually?
Does anything here get iron defense?
No.
I think Sandslash A does.
If he Tail Glows in the right situation and passes that to Zapdos or Kingdra, that could be kind of scary.
Bro, if he ever gets Tail Glow plus iron defense passed into a Zapdos, game is over on the spot.
An iron defense be passed.
Anything that isn't passing speed can be passed.
No, I'm just saying, can a Pokemon with any of his Pokemon with iron defense have Tom Pass?
Let me check Drifblim's moveset real quick.
I don't. The Drifblim.
Anyways, I think Politoed is a better
rain setter than Pelipper 100%. In draft, Pelipper is the better rain setter. Sadly,
I like Politoed more.
Sadly, he did not get an iron defense.
He got the cheaper one, which I think might have been better because he went for Well, I don't know if Galarian Weezing was better over Pelipper as a tier 2, but
I think that a different tier 2 could have worked, but Politoed, I personally believe, is the better rain setter, as electric moves aren't the least common, and dying to any electric move from any mon in the game isn't all that nice. Like, Politoed can live almost any hit from the special side of AV, even if it's super effective, and physically it can live most hits still. It's definitely,
wait, are you mentioning Iron Defense passing? I just realized one thing he can actually do is he can pass the special attack to Drifblim. Drifblim can stockpile, and then he can baton pass that to
oh
Zapdos.
shit, I missed stockpile. Oh
Yeah.
no. Land Turtle, if you're watching this, I mean, not Land Turtle,
Baxo.
Baxo, if you're watching this, do it. Do it. Do it. As long as it's not versus me, do it to Coded.
In Mega Swampert, he's known the best Mega for his team.
Yeah, that's obvious. Megapert is, we don't even need to go over it.
Kingdra's a no-brainer with Hurricane now. Zapdos with Hurricane.
Kingdra also has Flip Turn.
Kingdra gets Flip Turn?
Yeah, and Scale Shot.
Scale Shot ain't doing a thing when you have Swift Swim. You are not clicking Scale Shot.
Yeah, but
unless you're running the Sniper set.
Whimsicott, I like.
Whimsicott's great. Subseed with Prankster is.
I'd say the only truly underwhelming picks would be like
Obstacle.
No, I think Obstagoon works because he doesn't have a very good breaker apart from that.
Megapert and Kingdra.
Megapert
and
is.
Slash 4 just seems a bit expensive.
And Megapert's usually more of a cleaner. Like, you don't usually bring that out in the middle of the game. You save that until the end.
Yeah, you can though.
Yeah,
like
you
when
can.
you have the Zapdos, you can
but
clean Zapdos.
Since he has Obstagoon, he doesn't need to.
Lucario's also a pretty good breaker.
Do you think his team can be brought is a good team without Rain? If he decides to bring a team without
No.
I think it can.
Okay. I don't. So let's take Megapert off the table because without Rain, that mod is garbage. Let's take Politoed off the table because you're not bringing Politoed without Rain.
It's got Water Absorb.
Yeah, you could do the Perish Song set. Whirlpool.
First Dracovish, that is the only time that you will ever bring Water Absorb. If you bring Whirlpool, Water Absorb, Perish Song for Dracovish, I salute you.
I mean, if you're up against like a Cresselia, which would be kind of hard for you to like break through otherwise, then that can kind of catch the person with Cresselia off guard, for example, because you couldn't break it otherwise.
But you'd still want Drizzle over Water Absorb for Cress.
Maybe.
Obstagoon and Weezing have really good synergy.
Yes. Yeah. Also, the Lucario and Weezing have very good synergy too, if he's Levitate.
So, this team has a little bit of a ground weakness, if you look at it. Besides Whimsicott, well, Edgequake is better.
Weezing takes Edgequakes.
Yeah.
Not unless you're Levitate, and Levitate, I personally believe Neutralize the gas is the better ability.
It depends on the matchup.
Yeah, but you want to be able to run Neutralize the gas as much as possible.
Whimsicott will be able to take some edge.
Yes.
Ground weak.
It's a little.
Yeah, I would say it's probably.
Other than Whimsicott and some Weezing G sets, the team does get hit really hard by Edgequake.
It is electric and grass weak.
Of course you are. You're Rain.
I mean, I just like normally you do want like something that could take at least one of those two.
Yes, that is why Rain always has a Ferrothorn or a Mega Scizor. Or a Scizor.
Yeah,
Not a Mega
that
Scizor,
was.
a Scizor.
I'm not sure if we should bring up like any actual battle, but I will say that like when he battled Rivet, I remember Rivet had Thunderbolt and Grass Knot, and he kind of had trouble switching into that, like a lot of trouble actually.
Yeah, I don't even remember who won the battle. I'm not gonna lie. I don't remember any of the battles except for haters. That was a blowout. Man, I feel bad for Geek.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie.
I mean, like in practice, it actually was pretty weak to Thunderbolt plus Grass move.
Yeah.
I like this team.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that he was able to get a solid ring
Yeah,
or
in 26
6
minutes without even using
My-
Pelipper. Like,
My only complaint about it that it doesn't work outside of Rain. It doesn't. Like outside of Rain, nothing on his team is taking a fire hit.
Sandslash, Driftblim, and Lucario to me are all pretty underwhelming.
Driftblim is great here. I like Driftblim.
Just because of the passing.
Not just because, but good passing, good ghost type. Okay. So, now that I think about ghost type and spin blocker, where the fuck is its rocker?
Oh.
wait, like it wouldn't be a good rocker, but does Sandslash Alola learn Stealth Rock?
I don't think it does. I will double check.
It does. I just checked.
Okay. It's not a good
It's
rocker.
not a good rocker.
You have Mega Pert, but like now you're running Stealth Rock Mega Pert.
It actually can run Stealth Rocks in like some matchups, but for the most part, no.
I would so much rather have some power a punch.
It can use Bulk Up in this league too. So make a Swampert.
It gets Play Rough?
No, Bulk Up.
Oh yeah, I said that.
Yeah.
I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah. His hazards are bad.
Then removal, Zapdos, Weezing G, Driftblim. It's good. His removal's good.
But like Zapdos under Rain isn't gonna want to run Defog.
Yeah, but I mentioned that. I was mentioning that because of what you call it, not being under Rain.
Wait, did Zapdos get Weather Ball with the DLC moves?
Does who get Defog?
No, did Zapdos get Weather Ball with the DLC moves?
Yes, it did.
Okay, that's kind of insane.
Yeah, that's why it's so damn good. It would be really good for her here.
Volbeat does get Defog.
So does Whimsicott.
Oh yeah, and Whimsicott.
Yeah, he has good removal. He has good. And for what it's worth, he also has Rapid Spin on Sandslash.
That Sandslash should not be
Rocker.
It's good.
Does like hazards.
So let me go find Sandslash real quick and find hazards that are in tier 4. Bro, you could have got Dreadnought. What are you doing?
Could have gone Dreadnought.
That would have been pretty insane. Yeah.
Yeah, you could have had a mon that functions outside of Rain. It could have been bulky rocker. It could have been an offensive swim sweeper. Yeah, Dreadnought was 100% a better pick. I literally am suggesting that as an FA, bro. If Sandslash Alola proves underwhelming, get a Dreadnought.
I think he was just paranoid of pounding too much on that electric and grass weakness.
Dreadnought would be a better rocker too.
Well, Sandslash Alola really doesn't help with an electric or ground weakness.
Oh, it doesn't.
It also made his team way more weak to fighting.
Weezing is like the best fighting counter, but everything else is kind of. But Whimsicott's pretty good.
Yeah.
I definitely think that Sandslash Alola should be replaced, and I think Lucario should be replaced by an actual steel type that takes hits.
I think this is like one of the top 3 teams you've seen so far, though.
Yeah, 100%. Well, I don't know if it's better than Rolenti's team or not.
I think it is.
I like Baxos more than.
The thing is, so Rolenti, it's like we said before, like
if Rolenti got something over Mega T-Tar,
if Rolenti got like the slightly better option over like half his draft, then I think he would be better than this one. But for the most part, his draft is kind of underwhelming. Whereas Vaxo actually got pieces that really function well under rain.
Yeah, other than like Lucario and Sandslash, I wouldn't make any trades. Like Lucario is where's Lucario tier
Yeah, even
wise?
then, Lucario, it wouldn't be the worst under rain because fire type attacks versus it would be nerfed for what it's worth.
Yeah, but I mean like he should get an actual offensive steal with Luke instead of Lucario, and he has 20 points left. So where's Luke? Where's Luke? I'm struggling to find Lucario. It is tier 2B. So you can afford a tier 2A, and you could get a Staraptor, you could get.
Do you have a bulky psychic?
I don't know.
He doesn't.
No, he doesn't. Yo,
He doesn't have a psychic at all.
Reuniclus would be really nice here. Registeel would be better than the Lucario, in my opinion. Although that thing is way too fucking overpriced.
Almost looked like he was probably gonna do like Ninetales Alola, but then changed his mind. Do like
Didn't he round one Zapdos? Oh yeah. Ninetales Alola could have been nice here.
Would have been interesting.
Yeah, it wouldn't be as good, but it could have been nice. Like it's
Bisharp,
but
Bisharp would be good if you have good hazard.
I do not think Bisharp is a good mod in draft.
I would agree. And he had some better options than Lucario, especially for tier 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Lucario is still pretty versatile, and it can hit kind of hard.
Bro, he could have got a Magnetism. He could have got a Magnetism.
Supply Sword Stance.
Yeah.
Extreme Speed, Choice Band.
And then there's so much coverage too, like physically and specially.
Honestly, he could have got a Magnetism.
Not impressed with Magnetism.
Magnetism is an amazing electric and grass resist.
It is. It actually is. He low-key meets that, and it is. It's funny.
Yeah, I would suggest a Dreadnought and a Magnetism.
How much more time do you have left?
Yeah, I think that's everything I have to say about this team. Really good team. Lucario and Sandslash could be replaced by like Dreadnought and Magnezone. Like that could be really damn good. And Thunder Spam with Specs Mag is really damn scary. Like Thunder Spam off a 130 special attack in rain with Specs. That hurts. It also gets Iron Defense Body Press if you want to run a bulky set. And I do think that would help you function outside of rain even better. Because Dreadnought can be run outside of rain. And like Magnezone, Dreadnought, Whimsicott, Obstagoon isn't like Kingdra, Weezing Genius, Zapdos, and Volbeat and stuff, all of them being usable is really nice. But like Sandslash Alola is probably coming to like 2 games.
I don't think it'll ever come.
I give all mods the benefit of the doubt and say that it will come to 2 games. Depending on matchup, Sandslash Alola might be able to come.
Yeah.
And then Lucario, I can see it coming a decent amount. It is good on this team, but Magnezone would come to half your games if you had it. Definitely a strong team. Wishes it had a real stealth rocker. Removal is great. Setup is good. breaking. Rain doesn't really have to worry about breaking because water moves off. Water moves, hurricanes, and thunders hit so damn hard. Definitely prefer Polytoad over Pelipper.
Yeah.
Small Edgequake, well, not small, like medium Edgequake weakness, like it's not like your whole team gets dropped by Edgequake, but a decent amount of it does.
Could get exploited.
Yeah.
Yeah, like fighting types, like Mega Gallade can literally run Poison Jab, Edgequake, and drop this whole team. But that's a Mega Gallade. Like, Mega Gallade normally has 4 moves that can drop teams.
Yeah.
That's basically all I have to say about this team. Mega Gallade drops the whole team, but other than that, you should be fine.
I think it's a good team.
Yeah. Same. I think it's good.
Yeah. Get a rocker.
Especially for 26
Get a
man.
bulky steal, in my opinion.
I think this has been actually a pretty session.
We got through
a lot of teams.
Yeah, we got through a little less.
We got through. Yeah. We got through 12.
We got through 10. Oh, yeah, 12. 12 isn't bad. 12 of 26. We're 1 away from half.
Yeah. So we can do the rest of them tomorrow, I think.
Yeah, that should work.
Thanks everyone for listening to this.
Yeah.
I hope that you can play this in the background and vibe with us.
Yeah, that'll be it for the first half of the KBL NetDex draft rankings. Stay tuned for the next half. Coming soon.
So, are we gonna upload